Welcome back, chess fans. Today we are just diving in the game 14 of 2024 FIDE World Chess Championship. The challenger is Indian rising star Gukesh, and there is a reigning world champion from the China, Ding Liren. So in this game, Ding has the white pieces and Gukesh has the black pieces, but after round 13 score is even, both has the 6.5. So this game ended in a draw. Then we have to see the tie break. So let's see what happens in this game, and let's start the game. So in this game, Ding has the white pieces and he started the game with knight to f3, and this is a flexible opening, so he wants to his option opens. That's why I go for the knight to f3, and d5 was played by Gukesh. So g3, c5 and bishop to g2. This is a king's Indian attack, and Ding is trying to get a king's Indian attack against the Indian. Let's see how the game goes. So knight to c6 by Gukesh, and here Ding just went d4, challenging this pawn, and e6 by Gukesh, just defending the pawn with his bishop. So here Ding just castle, and Ding is just trying to be solid here. He is just wants to draw the game, because tomorrow that in a tie break he is just trying to push for more in the tie break in the little time format. So this is the idea of Ding. So here he just castle, and let's see how it goes. So c takes on d4 by Guki, knight takes on d4, and knight g to e7. This is not the best choice, but if you have to get something out of the opening, then you don't choose the engine's first choice or second. So this is the third one. Stockfish is recommending the bishop c5 or knight to f6, but Gukesh chooses to get the knight on e7 square, knight g to e7, and surprise the Ding. So Ding is quite a surprise. He just goes for a c4. So knight takes on d4 by Gukesh, and queen takes on d4. So knight to c6, just getting the knight here with the tempo on the queen. So queen goes back on d1 and d4, just grabbing the space in the center of the board. e3 challenging the pawn, and bishop to c5 defending this pawn. E takes on d4, bishop takes on d4, and this bishop is a monster. Now is eyeing the whole of the board, and this is a good bishop. So knight to c3 by Ding, and Gukesh just castle here. So knight to v5 attacking the bishop, and bishop went back on b6, and this is a slight inaccurate move. This is not a bad move, but it is inaccurate move. So here in this position you should go e5, and after knight takes on d5 and pawn takes on d5, you can get the queen here, bishop can develop here, and rook, you can get your rooks on e and d8 square. So this is a good position for black, but after knight to b5, bishop goes back on b6. Gukesh is just trying to preserve his bishop and not give up this bishop early in the game. So b3 was played, trying to get the bishop here and also set a trap for Gukesh here. So here this tactic is, I think, working. If the Gukesh is not aware of it, then he can go for it. So here bishop takes here, and if you takes with the rook, then you can lose the queen. Yeah. So this is a trap for Gukesh, but after bishop takes on f2, king takes on f2 is played, then queen to f6. This is also a move trying to give a check, and then the rook is hanging here. So this is the position that some of players see, and he can go for it, but there is a bishop to f4, and just covering the king and also defending this rook with the queen. So here you can go for this e5, and after king moves in, you can take the pawn, and after rook takes, but this is a slightly better for white. So Ding is trying to get in Gukesh into the trap. So Gukesh is just wants to be a solid, he is not getting in this trap, and he just played a6, challenging the knight, and knight went back on c3 square. So knight to c3 and bishop to d4 again. This bishop is coming again on the d4 square, and it is looking too good here. So bishop to b2 defending this knight. So bishop is attacking this knight. So bishop b2 defending the knight, and e5 now protecting the pawn and getting the diagonal open for the light square bishop to be developed. So queen to d2 was played and bishop to e6, just a solid. So knight to d5 getting the knight in the center of the board, and this is a good one. The knight is just outstanding here. You have to give up this bishop for this knight. If white takes here, then you have to give up this bishop as well for this knight. So after knight to d5, Gukesh just went the b5, challenging this pawn and creating the chaos on the board. This knight now can move here, and this knight is also hanging. So this bishop is watching the rook through this both knights. So you have to be careful before you play the move like b5, but Gukesh is too confident and he played instantly. So after b5, Ding just went c takes on b5, a takes on b5, and again this knight can cause problem, but Gukesh is very sure that this knight cannot has the good discovery. So in this position, knight to f4, knight just comes back with the tempo on the bishop. If you don't do anything, then he can take the bishop as well, and this knight is undefended, that light square bishop can take. So e takes on f4, just grabbing the knight with the pawn, and bishop takes on c6 was played. So bishop takes on b2 and queen takes on b2. So rook to b8, and now the position is even. So in this position, rook to b8, rook f to d1, tempo on the queen. So queen to b6 with the tempo on this bishop, and bishop comes back on f3, and this position is just even. There is a nothing to do here. This is just a dead draw, but you have the pieces on the board. So Gukesh is just wants to try it. So Gukesh first takes the pawn, f takes on g3 and h takes on g3, and he created the imbalance in the position. He has the 3 against 2. So Ding has the 2 pawns on the king side and Gukesh has the 3 pawn. So he just created the imbalance and try to get something out of the position, but really position is dead here. So b4 was played. So after b4, this b4 pawn is watching this 2 pawn. You cannot push this pawn because I'll take it, and this pawn is hanging. So Gukesh is just controlling these 2 pawns with a single b4 push. a4 nonetheless खेला गया by the Ding, and this is also best move in the position. So he takes it, he pushed the pawn, and here Gukesh just takes en passant. B takes on a3. So Gukesh just takes a pawn and rook takes on a3, just trying to be a solid. And this rook and this queen both are defending this pawn, but still here you can take here with the bishop, but that's not a good idea. You don't want to be a greedy. g6 creating the loop for the king. Enter the position via here. Also there is a no back rank weaknesses now for Gukesh. So queen to d4, and with the move queen to d4, Ding is just offering a draw to Gukesh. If he takes, rook takes, then Ding is just wants to a draw here and get the game into the tie breaks. But in this position, after queen to d4, queen to b5, just avoiding the queen trade. So he played b4 and trying to give up this pawn, and then this position is draw. So after pushing the b4, he is just giving up a pawn, and there is nothing bad in this position, but you can't give a pawn like this, but Ding did it. So after queen takes on b4, queen takes on b4, and rook takes on b4, so Ding is managed to get the queens off the board. Now we tried So he just tried rook to a8 and get this rook off the board. So Gukesh just takes it, rook takes on 8, bishop takes on 8. Again, this position is still draw. There is a nothing into the position. You can push for. So in this position, g5 was played by Gukesh, just trying to stop this move. So in this position, bishop to d5, offering the trade of bishop, and bishop to f5, just avoiding the trade. So Gukesh is just want to stay the pieces on the board. He don't want to exchange the pieces and get towards the draw. So he was trying to fight in this position as well. This position is a dead draw, but he is trying to fight it. So after bishop to f5, rook to c1 and king to g7, rook to c7, just pinning the pawn and trying to get it now. There is a two attacker on this pawn. So bishop to g6, defending the pawn. Rook to c4, now again offering the trade of rook, and Gukesh just declines with the rook to b1 check. King goes on g2. So after rook to e1, rook to b4 was played, and Gukesh is trying to push for something. So in this position, after rook to b4, h5 was played, and Gukesh's idea is get the pawn on g4, and then this pawn will be exchanged on h4. So this is the idea of Gukesh. So after h4, rook to a4 was played, and rook to e5 with the tempo on the bishop. So bishop to f3 and king to h6 was played by Gukesh. So king to g1 and rook to e6. So rook to c4 was played, and here Gukesh strikes on the bishop of Ding. So g4 was played with the tempo on the bishop, and bishop to d5 with the tempo on the rook. So rook d6 with the tempo on the bishop, and bishop went to the b7 square. So now king to g5 and f3 was played. So Gukesh's idea all along trying to exchange this h pawn with this g pawn, and then these two pawn are trying to get something in the position. So after f3, he just went the f5 and got this pawns. So in this position, f takes on g4, h takes on g4 by Gukesh, and rook to b4. This position is a still draw, but Gukesh has some hope in the position, and he's trying to push the game. So bishop to f7 was played, king f2 and rook d2 with check. So king to g1, king to f6 and rook to b6 check. So king goes back, king to g5, rook to b4, bishop to e6, trying to defend the pawn and again get in the position. Rook to a4 and rook to b2 by Gukesh. So bishop went on a8 square, king f6. Now king is again trying to infiltrate in the position. Rook to f4 and king to e5 was played. So in this position is a dead draw. There is a nothing can happen in this position. This position is draw. You can play anything. You can put the bishop here. You can put the bishop here on g2. Also you can put the rook here, but there is so many moves that can you play in this position. Rook f1, rook a4, bishop here, bishop here. There is so many moves that you can play, but there is a worse move. There is just one move that loses the game for Ding, and Ding just plays the rook f2, and this is a blunder. And he just, after he played and thought for a seconds, and he just realizes this is a blunder, and he get the head in his hand and is just checking it. So after rook f2, while Gukesh is thinking for a while, and he shows this is a blunder, but he is calculating the whole line till the end. So after rook takes on f2, king takes on f2, bishop to d5, just trying to exchange the bishop. So bishop takes, king takes. So after king takes on d5 and king to e3 was played, and king to e5, and in this position the reigning world champion Ding Liren just resigned the game, and now Gukesh is not a Gukesh. Gukesh is now world champion Gukesh Domaraju, and Ding is now former World Chess Champion Ding Liren. So Gukesh is just defeated the Ding and created new history in the chess world. He is the youngest world champion in the chess history. He is just 18-year-old and he is the 18th world champion of chess. So this is tremendous for him and all his fans. So this is it for today. If you are enjoying this video, then don't forget to like the video, subscribe the channel, and let's see what happens next in the world rapid and blitz. So stay tuned with us until the next video.